Welcome to Truth and Transparency, a little special quick live to give you a quick recap of what happened today. Beaver County, Pennsylvania, Sheldon Jeter Jr. was back in the courtroom based on an affidavit by his one attorney, as well as some reporting by yours truly. But juror number 3 during his trial that happened in 2021, Sheldon Jeter Jr. was arrested and held over for a preliminary hearing for the murder of family friend Tyreek Pugh, May 2020 during COVID. The trial then took place in June of 2021, just a year later. And Sheldon was found guilty of first-degree murder after a 2-week trial, after 4 hours of deliberating, 20 minutes to an hour on day 1 of deliberating. Then the jurors went home. And then day 2, the jurors were back in there for 3 hours. Here is a clip because in 2021, my reporting found out that one of the jurors on Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s panel was the neighbor of Rachel Del Tondo, the murder victim, who he was a person of interest in 2018. Never charged. That murder is still unsolved to this point, to this day. But juror number 3 was not only the neighbor of Rachel Del Tondo, she was also married to Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s cousin, who she was actually filing divorce from at the time. And it would be this juror who it was alleged, and now today, when you hear what happened in the evidentiary hearing, it was alleged that she talked to her father and asked her father about how she should look at the evidence. She didn't know what to do. She wanted to pray on it. She discussed the case during the trial with her father and during deliberations, and then prayed on it. And then, yeah. But there was bombshells that would come out in this evidentiary hearing that took place here today, September 30th, 2025. So yes, all these years later, because Sheldon would win appeals. Back in 2021. Well, here I'm gonna let you hear this clip because I broke the story in June of 2021. The defense moved for a motion for a mistrial due to this, and at the very least, to have an evidentiary hearing. There were affidavits put in by attorneys based on one of the attorneys actually talking with the father-in-law of the juror, and who gave the secondhand or hearsay information. All affidavits are usually hearsay to a point. So here, check this out. But this was in 2021. Judge Kim Tesla was presiding over the case. And something of note is that Judge Kim Tesla was also the special prosecutor who prosecuted the Jamie Brown case back for the murder of Officer Nime before Judge Kim Tesla became a judge. He was actually a prosecutor, and he was the special prosecutor in the Jamie Brown case, which took place. It was the murder of Officer Nime in 2001, police officer. And ironically, Kim Tesla then would preside over this case for Sheldon. But even more ironic, he would also marry the juror and her husband, which was Sheldon's cousin. Sheldon's cousin, the husband of the juror, he actually saw Rachel Del Tondo's lifeless body that was riddled with 9 bullets on the night of the murder of Rachel Del Tondo, as they were neighbors. Here it is. Check this out. This was in 2021 after the defense put in a motion to have an evidentiary hearing. This is what happened.
His attorneys filed an 11th hour appeal, but today a judge denied it and sentenced convicted murderer Sheldon Jeter to life in prison without parole. A jury convicted Jeter for killing Tyreek Pugh, but he continues to be a person of interest in another murder. As KDK investigator Andy Sheehan reports, the Rachel Del Tondo case loomed over this trial.
Jeter's defense attorneys argued for a mistrial, saying that one juror's relationship with the Del Tondo family tainted the verdict. the judge disagreed and sentenced Jeter to spend the rest of his life behind bars. Sheldon Jeter came to court from jail this morning hoping for a last-minute reprieve, a delay in the sentencing, and a hearing on whether a mistrial should be declared. His defense attorney, Michael Santacola, arguing the verdict is tainted because it's come to light that one of the jurors lived next door to the Rachel Del Tondo family, and Santacola contends was aware that Jeter is a person of interest in that homicide. Quote, a sensational murder case that is well known to everyone in this courtroom and just about everyone in Beaver County. That is exactly what is extraordinary and exactly what is egregious and why we should have a mistrial. But Judge Kim Tesla was dismissive of the argument, saying all the questions about the Del Tondo case should have been asked at jury selection. There was no challenge for cause by either side, and both sides said the juror was acceptable. The judge also said there's no proof the juror discussed the case with her family or other jurors. Quote, these are allegations of hearsay based on hearsay. They could have been talking about the weather for all I know, and I'm not going to order a new trial for that.
I think that there was clear evidence that there was a problem with that juror.
After, Santacola said he would petition for a mistrial hearing in post-trial motions.
We are certainly going to raise the issue with this juror. And we believe, and we've spoken to other lawyers and some appellate lawyers that agree with us, that think that this is grounds for a possible mistrial.
But in court, Tesla went on with the sentencing after hearing from murder victim Tyreek Pugh's mother, Selma, who asked that Sheldon Jeter get the maximum sentence. Quote, I walk around and feel like I have a hole in my heart. I have days when I cry uncontrollably for hours. I miss my son so much. Sheldon, we would like to know why. If more years can be added, we will support that, so Sheldon will never be able to walk the streets again.
There's no winner in this.
But Jeter's uncle said Jeter and Pugh were friends, and he had no reason to shoot him.
Why would he? What's the motive?
But barring any successful appeals, Jeter is sentenced to life in prison without parole for the shooting death of Tyreek Pugh. The investigation into the Rachel Del Tondo murder continues. Reporting in.
So when Judge Tesla decided not to have an evidentiary hearing like he should have, they weren't just asking for it to be declared a mistrial. They were asking for an evidentiary hearing so that everything had come out. What happened today is basically what the defense was asking for back in 2021. Tesla, obviously you just saw that there. Nope, I'm not going to issue a mistrial, blah, blah, blah. Well, Sheldon Jeter Jr. would actually go on to get a very, very good appellate attorney and file through Corey Woods, and it would go to the higher courts because they obviously were like, yeah, no, we're going to appeal this. And the higher courts sided with Sheldon, but then the Commonwealth, they were like, not so fast. We're going to appeal that decision. And so then it went to, the higher courts. That was upheld by the higher court. So Sheldon won, and this was going to then be kicked back, remanded back to the trial court here, saying that Kim Tesla, you must have an evidentiary hearing. You guys understand that this has taken from June of 2021. It is September of 2025. And Sheldon just finally got his day in court for something that should have taken place in June of 2021. He has been sitting in prison, and he was sitting in jail from May of 2020 until his trial began in June of 2021. How things shook out today, boy, oh boy, fireworks is all I can say. Expected to testify was the juror's estranged husband, and then the two fathers of those two folks. So that would be the juror's dad and then the juror's father-in-law. Okay. As the proceeding began today, right off the rip, the juror attended with her attorney. And the juror, through her attorney, stated that she would be pleading the fifth unless she got full immunity. Whoa, bombshell, right? Wow. Like, she needs immunity for what? Well, right when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh. Because again, guys, this is all based on my reporting and digging. And I attended the trial as much as I could, found out that the family knew who one of the jurors were. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? What do you mean she's family? How is she family? Wait, what do you mean she's Rachel Daltondo's neighbor? Wait, what do you mean she's married to Sheldon's? What? I was like, no. How do you know? Oh my God, Mary, she's so, like, she's awesome. I went to school with her. She's a great girl, blah, blah. And I'm like, but wait, she's the neighbor of Rachel Daltondo? What? Like, she would know all about everything. How could she not? And then I found out that her husband and her were estranged. Like, he was not living there. And he actually saw Rachel's body after she was shot, and it caused problems in their marriage. He ended up having PTSD, and I'm just like, whoa, this is wild. Got all the confirmation on Facebook. The judge actually married the juror and her husband. There's a picture of them. Found that, put it all together, and then released the whole story. So a couple different attorneys had put in affidavits due to hearing things throughout the proceeding, as attorneys would be popping in and out, watching the trial at different times. I noticed myself, I couldn't believe that I saw the bailiff was sleeping. I mean, it was nothing that I've ever seen before. So we get here to this day finally. And who, by the way, Sheldon is represented by completely different people. Thank God. And there would be a short recess after this happened, and the juror wanted immunity. Now, we have a new district attorney in Beaver County. And I just have to say, thank you so much, Nate Bible. I pushed for Nate Bible to get elected over DA Lozier back when that year for the election. I want to say it was 2023. Anyways, regardless, DA Lozier, who was the DA back when this murder happened, and back when Rachel was murdered in 2018, and then Tyreek Pugh in 2020. DA Lozier has a very interesting relationship with a very, at the time, a well-known blogger from the Beaver County, and John Paul. And John Paul has been a correspondent of 48 Hours. Due to his reporting in this case, he has wrote over, and he'll tell you, as he put it out in his writing, that he has covered this case. He's attended all the hearings and blah, blah, blah. And he's wrote over hundreds of articles just alone on Sheldon Jeter Jr. and Rachel Daltondo, to the point that the Beaver County not only is it a paid, like a website, like kind of like a Turtle Boy type thing, but you could see stuff behind a paywall if you're part of it, or there are free articles. At the end of the day, everybody in Beaver County was seeing these articles. And then he actually said and came out and said that Rachel Daltondo was one of his confidential sources. And that once that happened, Rachel Daltondo was shot 6 months later. Rachel Daltondo got murdered. She was getting death threats to be murdered, that you're not going to live to see the next year. And then that happened. This stuff happened after she became a confidential source for the Beaver County. Again, the Beaver County was putting out hit pieces on the raid. They were raiding government buildings in March of 2018. They were putting hit pieces out on the police department, government officials, the mayor. And then here, Rachel Daltondo would be gunned down and murdered in her parents' driveway at 10:45 on Mother's Day on May, whatever day it was back then, I think like the 12th of 2018. Then 2 years would pass, and almost 2 years to the date would be the Tyreek Pugh gun down in the middle of the road, May of 2020. So in this hearing, it was Nate Bible that granted the juror full immunity because he wants justice. Okay. He wants the truth. And the juror wants to tell the truth. She wants to answer all the questions. Okay. She's scared. She's younger. And her lawyer went in there, and I think he did the right thing. And so he got her full immunity. And so the way that it happened is that none of the witnesses were in there when the other ones were testifying. And so the father of the juror went first, and the affidavit of the lawyer that was used in this case, she had a conversation with not that dad, but the other dad, who said that this is what this dad had told him because they talk. Well, not only did that dad tell the one dad things, but the juror also talked to the husband's dad. So the first person to testify, the juror's father, he testified that he didn't recall, but that he couldn't deny saying what he said, and he didn't remember some stuff. But the routine was that when she came home from a day at jury, duty, that when she got home, she has a kid there. They watch the kid. She lives there, so she would come there. She'd go straight to her room. The TV was off, and then when they would make dinner, they would leave it out for her, and then she would take it back to her room or something like that. But he could not deny that he didn't. He did not deny that he didn't say that. Okay, I think he was being more like a dad and just kind of didn't want to get his daughter in trouble. It was an iffy testimony. Then after that is when Judge Tesla was like, okay, well, there was a short recess, came back. The DA is going to grant the juror full immunity. And she gets up there and she tells the truth. She admits to talking to not only her father, but to her husband and to her husband's father, like her father-in-law. Those three people, she said, yes, I talked to them about the case during the case. I discussed it with them. She told the truth. I talked to them during the trial, during deliberations. Prayed on it with them, with her dad. She admitted it. But here in the affidavit, all it was is that it was with her father. Here, this is how amazing Juror 3 was. That's why I want to give props to Juror 3. Her name's Mary, and that's all I'm going to say. And I just want to say, Mary, thank you so much. It's people like you that know if they made a mistake, it's okay, and you can always fix it. You don't have to try to lie if you made a mistake. We're human, Like I said, she's younger. To be honest, Mary, I think that the lawyers put you in a horrible position. When they were asking questions, they knew that they should have asked certain questions and they didn't. And that's on them. But thank you. So if you ever see this, thank you so much. So she told the truth. And now the same judge, who never wanted to have this evidentiary hearing. So basically what ends up happening after that is that the lawyer is no longer needed because the affidavit is now being supported by the witness herself, the juror herself. And so she admitted to everything that she did. Alexis, who submitted her affidavit, did not have to testify. But that puts Judge Kim Tesla, right, in a very... Oh, also, thank you so much to Nate Bible. He got involved. He's the district attorney. He got involved, and he's the one that granted the juror to have full immunity because he wants the truth. He wants true justice. Yeah. Like DA Lozier wouldn't have done that. So again, Nate Bible, thank you. With that said, where it goes from here is that Kim Tesla, this judge, now mind you, he didn't have his evidentiary hearing. He basically blew off the defense back in 2021. Then he gets overruled up by the higher courts, right? And now, Judge Tesla, are you going to finally do the right thing, which is both sides have the ability to write a brief about, their standpoints on what just happened, the case, where it's at. And from my understanding, the Commonwealth isn't going to write a brief. I mean, I don't know if that means that they're kind of waving the towel with that. But the juror admitted, and that's against her oath that she took, and she most definitely talked to other people, and you can't do that. You can't bring in outside influences. You can't talk about stuff that wouldn't have been evidence. You can't discuss anything like that. Like, that's what you're sworn to say that you're not going to do, is you're going to just only discuss it with your fellow, jury mates. But Judge Kim Tesla here it is. What are you going to do, buddy? Are you going to, you already have egg on your face, Judge Tesla. Here's a chance for you to do the right thing, and not make this continue on, but give Sheldon his fair trial. The juror has spoke, and the defense team asked really good questions, so there is no ambiguity. There's nothing. Yeah. So I'm so happy for the family. And people ask me, well, do you care about victims? And I'm like, Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s family is like Tyreek Pugh's family. If you guys don't know the story, I have a bunch of videos. Of course, I care about Tyreek Pugh, and I've actually spoken to members of his family. Sheldon's family wants justice for Tyreek Pugh as well. Sheldon didn't kill Tyreek Pugh. Tyreek Pugh was raised and helped raise through the church that Sheldon's family runs. Sheldon had no reason to kill Tyreek Pugh. He didn't kill him. And I think that if somebody actually does an investigation and looks into the phones of the victim, as well as the phones of other people, as well as the Google accounts, as well as just do anything that you would normally do in an investigation, and it will hit you right in the face of what truly happened up on that hill. But that'll come. Sheldon's going to get his day, and unless Judge Tesla, in my opinion, wants to be disbarred, he will be granting a new trial for Sheldon Jeter Jr. That's what the law says in Pennsylvania. So I don't see how he's not going to be able to follow the law. There's case precedent, right? Corey Wood cited a ton of it. Sheldon had a great performance for the past 4 years for his attorneys. That has nothing to do with the people that had anything to do with his defense in the first trial. And those people will not be involved in the second trial. Where it goes from here is that Pennsylvania has rules and statutes, and you have to go to trial within so many months. So this isn't something that can just sit around. So that's great. And Sheldon could also have a chance to have a bail hearing. Where it picks back up is it's like the preliminary. So Sheldon had a preliminary hearing, and so he doesn't get a new preliminary hearing. Where it starts is basically after that. And so I'm just so happy for the family. And then that means both families. You wouldn't want the wrong person going to prison for the rest of their life for something that they didn't do, especially if it was involved with, killing, whether it was your son, whether it was your brother, whether it was your dad, who would ever want that? The motive was always a struggle for everybody in this case. Like, why the heck would Sheldon just shoot Pugh? What are you talking about? Well, he's driving. What do you put? Hey, get out of the car. Let me just shoot you right here in the middle of the road. And then let me just sleep with a murder weapon. I mean, there's no motive there. And the reason there's no motive there is because he's not the killer. He didn't kill Pugh. But if you actually get to the bottom of the motive, I think your killer or killers will be standing right in front of you. Will Judge Tesla preside over the new trial? That's a great question. And that's the question I'm going to end on for this live, because I want to pass this out, because mainstream media is not going to talk about this. So please pass this around. Mainstream media hasn't even made one remark about this case. Today was a huge evidentiary hearing in one of the biggest high-profile cases that Beaver County has ever had, because it's linked to the Rachel Deltondo case, which is the biggest one that they've ever had. So they're back-to-back on the top two high-profile cases out of Beaver County. There was nobody from the mainstream media there, not a single person. There's been no report, no article, no nothing. Nothing. Crickets over there. So please, this is why I did this little short. Now it's been 26 minutes, but I want to also show you guys before I say we're going to go. But will Kim Tesla, he could or he could not. We'll see what happens. Really quick though. This is a video because they like to show Sheldon in the worst of light, or they try to go and take pictures of him from, I don't even know where they even get this crap from, but I want to show you guys. This is a video. So Al, he was a big time star athlete. This is Al Copa's, here you go, Sheldon at States.
Sheldon.
You got two minutes. You got two.
Sheldon. Substitution master charter number 23, Eric Span. No number change. Number 23, Eric Span for the Brewers. Number 3, Isaiah Fields.
In case you guys didn't know, he was number 0 that they keep showing scoring.
Number 20, Juror Admits. Jeter with the basket. Jeter misses. Jordan from Jeter. Timeout. Jeter.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Again, Sheldon Jeter Jr., evidentiary hearing. Thank you so much to the juror. Thank you so much to Nate Bible. And let this man get a new fair trial with attorneys that are going to advocate for his innocence. And in the process, it will reveal true justice that Tyreek Pugh can rest peacefully, because that young man did not deserve to be shot 6 times in the head and 1 time in the side. Thank you and have a good night. Truth and transparency, this is what we are about. Rally caps.